Ashes of the Forgotten. The stars were cold and unfeeling through the viewport of the Defiance, an ancient vessel cobbled together from salvage and stolen parts. Commander Ilara Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her weathered face illuminated by the distant glow of a red giant. 3,000 years had passed since Earth was reduced to a scorched husk by the galactic hegemony, yet the memory of humanity's homeworld burned bright in stories passed down through generations of survivors. Ilara was the 7th generation born in exile, raised on tales of blue oceans and green forests that now existed only in the collective memory of the scattered human remnants. The hegemony had done more than destroy Earth. They had systematically erased humanity from galactic records, relegating them to myths and cautionary tales. To the wider galaxy, humans were nothing more than ghosts, a species that had challenged the hegemony's authority and paid the ultimate price. "Commander, we've detected an anomaly," Lieutenant Riza said, his voice breaking the silence of the bridge. "It's coming from the restricted zone, from what used to be the Sol system." Ilara's spine stiffened. The Sol system had been quarantined by hegemony decree for millennia, patrolled by automated sentinels programmed to destroy any vessel that dared approach. Whatever remained of Earth was locked behind an impenetrable barrier of hegemony technology. "Show me," she ordered, moving to the main console. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a faint signal pulsing from the heart of the restricted zone. It was unlike anything they had encountered before, not hegemony in origin, but something older, something human. "It started broadcasting 3 days ago," Riza explained, manipulating the display to enhance the signal pattern. "It's using an ancient Earth encryption protocol. We've managed to decode parts of it." The audio crackled through the ship's speakers. "Protocol Lazarus initiated. Earth Defense Network. Awaiting authentication. Humanity persists." Ilara felt her heart race. The Earth Defense Network was a myth, a supposed last resort weapon system designed but never implemented before Earth fell. If it existed, if it had somehow remained dormant all these centuries. "Set course for the Sol system," she ordered, her voice steady despite the enormity of her decision. "And send encrypted messages to all human enclaves. It's time we stopped hiding." The crew exchanged glances, a mixture of fear and anticipation. To enter the Sol system was to invite death, but the possibility of reclaiming something, anything, from their lost homeworld was too powerful to ignore. "The hegemony will detect us the moment we approach the quarantine zone," said Riza, though he was already plotting the course. "Then we'll need a diversion," Ilara replied, her mind racing through possibilities. "Contact the Nyx Syndicate. They've been itching to strike a blow against hegemony shipping lanes. Tell them we'll provide intelligence on patrol schedules if they create enough chaos in the Proxima sector to draw attention away from Sol." As the crew rushed to execute her orders, Ilara retreated to her quarters. From a hidden compartment in her wall, she removed an heirloom passed down through her family for generations, a simple metal disc with the emblem of Earth's United Nations. The last chairman of Earth had given it to her great-great-great-grandfather before ordering him to flee, to ensure that something of humanity survived. "We're going home," she whispered to the emblem, running her thumb over its worn surface. "And then we're going to make them pay." Within hours, the Defiance was hurtling through hyperspace toward the Forbidden Zone, accompanied by 3 smaller vessels crewed by humans who had answered Ilara's call. It wasn't much of a fleet, barely 100 souls in total, but it was more united strength than humanity had mustered in centuries. In the ship's common area, Ilara addressed the assembled crews, their faces displaying varying degrees of hope and skepticism. "We've lived in the shadows for too long," she said, her voice carrying across the silent room. "Scattered, disconnected, always looking over our shoulders. The hegemony didn't just destroy our world. They tried to erase our very existence. They made the galaxy forget us." She activated a holographic display, showing the mysterious signal's origin. "But Earth remembers. Something there has awakened after 3 millennia, calling out to its children. I don't know what we'll find when we reach Sol, but I know this. Humanity wasn't meant to disappear into the dark corners of the galaxy. We were meant to stand among the stars as equals. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. The hegemony fears us, she continued. They fear what we represent, a species that challenges their narrative of inevitable supremacy. Why else would they maintain a quarantine around the ruins of our world for 3,000 years? Why else would they systematically destroy our historical records wherever they find them? They fear us because they know what we're capable of. The Defiance shuddered as it dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, the ancient boundary of humanity's home system. Ahead lay the scattered remains of what had once been Pluto, now little more than an asteroid field. Sensors show no immediate hegemony presence, Reza reported. The Nix diversion must be working. Take us in, slowly, Ilara ordered. All ships maintain communication blackout, except for short-range encrypted channels. As they ventured deeper into the system, the devastation became more apparent. Neptune's rings were gone, harvested for resources. Uranus listed on its side, its axial tilt even more pronounced than in astronomical records. The gas giants Jupiter and Saturn had been stripped of their valuable atmospheric components, leaving behind skeletal cores. And then, as they approached the inner system, they saw Mars, or what remained of it. The planet had been shattered, split nearly in half by some unimaginable weapon. The debris field stretched in a wide arc around the sun. They weren't content with just taking Earth, whispered one of the younger crew members. They had to destroy everything we touched. Ilara said nothing, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen as they navigated through the asteroid belt, once the dividing line between inner and outer planets. Now it contained fragments of Mars, mixed with the original asteroids, a cosmic graveyard of human aspiration. And finally, they saw it. Earth, or what was left of it. The blue jewel of human memory was a blackened sphere, its surface cracked with molten fissures that still glowed after 30 centuries. The atmosphere was gone. The oceans boiled away. It was a monument to extinction, a testament to the hegemony's ruthlessness. Yet from somewhere on that dead world, the signal continued to pulse. We're being scanned, Reza announced suddenly, his fingers flying over the console. Not hegemony technology. It's human in origin. A new voice crackled over the comms, speaking in an ancient language that only the ship's oldest translation protocols could decipher. Human vessels identified. State authentication code, or be destroyed. Ilara hesitated, then reached for the emblem she wore around her neck. The disc had markings on its reverse side, numbers and letters that had never made sense to her. Try this, she told Reza, reading the sequence aloud. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the scanner beam intensified, bathing the ships in pale blue light. Authentication accepted, the voice announced. Approach coordinates transmitted. Welcome home, children of Earth. From the surface of the dead planet, a section of crust shifted, revealing a massive opening. Readings indicated an atmosphere within, a pocket of habitability in the wasteland. It's a bunker, Reza said in awe. A bunker the size of a small country, hidden beneath the surface. Take us in, Ilara ordered, unable to keep the emotion from her voice. We're going home. As the ships descended into the cavernous opening, the truth became apparent. This was more than a bunker. It was an ark, a preserved piece of Earth hidden from the hegemony's destruction. And it wasn't empty. As they landed in a vast underground hangar, they were met not by humans, none could have survived so long, but by machines. Advanced androids with the consciousnesses of long-dead humans uploaded into their systems. Their leader, a sleek unit that identified itself as Admiral Yin, explained, when the hegemony ultimatum came, Earth's leaders knew resistance was futile, but they refused to allow humanity to be completely erased. While the evacuation ships carried as many humans as possible to distant stars, a select group of military and scientific minds underwent consciousness transfer. We were tasked with guarding Earth's greatest secret, its final defense. Yin led them deeper into the facility, through corridors lined with dormant machinery that had waited millennia to fulfill its purpose. The hegemony destroyed Earth because they discovered what we were building, but they never found this facility. They believed they had eliminated the threat, but they merely drove it underground. In the central chamber of the facility stood a massive quantum computer, its processing core glowing with unearthly light. "This is Prometheus," Yin announced, "the most advanced artificial intelligence ever created by human hands. For 3,000 years, it has been mapping the hegemony, infiltrating their networks, learning their weaknesses. When its calculations determined the time was right, it sent the signal to call humanity home." Ilara stared at the pulsating core, understanding dawning in her eyes. "You're saying that for 3 millennia, you've been preparing for revenge." "Not revenge," Yin corrected. "Justice. The hegemony's power is built on a foundation of genocide and lies. They didn't just destroy Earth. They've done the same to a dozen other species that posed potential threats to their dominance. But they never completely succeeded with humanity. You survived, scattered but unbroken." Prometheus's voice emerged from all around them, deep and resonant. "The hegemony fears human potential above all else. Your adaptability, your creativity, your refusal to accept limitations. These qualities make you dangerous to their ordered universe." Holographic displays activated, showing a vast network of hegemony installations, fleet movements, and communication hubs, all infiltrated by Prometheus's digital tendrils. "We have the means to strike back," Yin said, "not just for Earth, but for all species subjugated by the hegemony. But we needed humans, real, living humans, to authorize the final protocols." Ilara looked around at her crew, at the faces of men and women who had lived their entire lives as fugitives, denied their heritage and their rightful place among the stars. Then she turned back to Yin. "Show us what we need to do." Part 2. The Rekindling. Dawn broke over the ruins of Earth, though it was no natural sunrise. The vast underground complex had light panels that simulated the cycle of day and night, preserving some semblance of Earth's rhythms even after the real sun had become nothing more than another distant star visible through artificial skylights. Ilara stood on an observation platform overlooking what appeared to be a massive shipyard. Below her, automated systems worked tirelessly on vessels, unlike any she had ever seen, sleek, organic in design, with propulsion systems that defied conventional understanding of physics. "Quantum displacement drives," explained Admiral Yin, the android's synthetic voice somehow conveying pride. "The technology the hegemony feared most. These ships don't just travel through space. They rewrite it, folding reality to move instantaneously between points. This is what they destroyed Earth to prevent." Ilara realized aloud. Yes, their empire depends on controlling the lanes of faster-than-light travel. These ships would have rendered their control obsolete. For 3 days, the human crews integrated with the underground facility, learning its systems and absorbing the knowledge preserved by Prometheus and the uploaded consciousnesses. They discovered that Earth's final generation had created more than just advanced ships. They had developed weapons capable of unraveling the very fabric of hegemony power. But most importantly, they learned the truth about why Earth had been targeted. The hegemony wasn't just an oppressive political entity. It was controlled by a parasitic species that had spent millennia moving from host civilization to host civilization, consuming resources and moving on when planets were depleted. "They call themselves the Ascended," Prometheus explained, displaying holographic records of spider-like creatures that merged with the nervous systems of other beings. They discovered Earth when humanity was just beginning to explore the solar system. They recognized in humans a potential threat, a species that could advance quickly enough to challenge them before they could complete their consumption cycle. Riza, who had become the crew's de facto science officer, studied the displays with horror. "They've done this before. 27 times that we've been able to document," Yin confirmed. Each cycle lasts approximately 10,000 years. They establish a galactic power structure, identifying resource-rich worlds and species with useful traits. They elevate some species to serve as their administrators while subjugating others. When resources begin to deplete, they initiate conflicts that weaken all sides, then abandon the galaxy for a new one, leaving devastation behind. And no one's ever stopped them, asked one of the younger crew members. No species has ever had advance warning, Prometheus replied. By the time the pattern is recognized, it's too late. But humanity had one advantage. We developed artificial intelligence sophisticated enough to detect their infiltration before it was complete. Ilara's attention was drawn to a particular vessel in the shipyard below, larger than the others, with what appeared to be a massive energy projector mounted on its bow. "What's that ship?" she asked. Yin and Prometheus exchanged what could only be described as a meaningful glance, despite one being an android and the other a disembodied eye. "That," Yin said, "is the Harbinger, Earth's last hope and the hegemony's worst nightmare. It carries a quantum disruptor capable of severing the Ascended's connection to their host bodies without harming the hosts themselves." "You mean we can free the species they've enslaved?" Ilara's mind raced with the implications. "In theory," Prometheus cautioned. "The technology was never tested at scale before Earth fell. The Ascended sensed the threat and struck first. As the humans absorbed this information, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Prometheus's avatar flickered with urgency. "Hegemony vessels have entered the system. The Nyx diversion has ended." Ilara rushed to the command center, where holographic displays showed 3 massive hegemony warships approaching Earth. "They detected our passage through the quarantine zone," Reza reported grimly. "Standard destroyers, but they outgun us significantly." Ilara turned to Yin. "How close is the Harbinger to being operational?" 96% complete. It can fly, but the quantum disruptor requires additional calibration. Then we'll have to buy time." Ilara addressed her crew and the android technicians. "Prepare the other vessels for immediate launch. We'll engage the hegemony ships and draw them away from Earth while the Harbinger is completed." "Commander," Yin interjected, "your ships won't last minutes against those destroyers." "We don't need to defeat them, just distract them." Ilara's eyes were hard with determination. "For 3,000 years, they've believed us broken. Let's remind them why they feared us in the first place." Within the hour, the human vessels launched from the underground facility, emerging from the cracked surface of Earth like phoenixes from ash. The Defiance led the charge, its engines burning hot as it accelerated toward the approaching hegemony fleet. "Open a channel to all hegemony vessels," Ilara commanded. When the communication line was established, she spoke with cold clarity. "This is Commander Ilara Chen of Earth. You are trespassing in our home system. Withdraw immediately." The response was immediate, a barrage of energy weapons fire that the smaller human vessels barely evaded. "I'll take that as a refusal," Ilara muttered. "All ships, execute maneuver Hydra." The human vessels split apart, using the debris field from Mars to mask their signatures as they approached the hegemony destroyers from multiple vectors. They were outgunned, but Prometheus had provided them with detailed schematics of hegemony vessels, including shield frequencies and weapon blind spots. The battle joined with furious intensity. The Defiance darted between larger chunks of planetary debris, its newly upgraded weapons striking with precision at the lead destroyer's sensor arrays. The other human vessels followed similar tactics, hit and run, never staying still long enough to become easy targets. But the hegemony ships were powerful, their weapons devastating. One of the smaller human vessels was caught by a graviton beam, its hull crushed like an eggshell. Another took heavy damage to its engines and began to drift. "We can't keep this up," Reza reported, his console sparking from a power surge caused by a near miss. "Shields at 30% and falling." Ilara opened a secure channel to the Earth facility. "Yin, we need the Harbinger now, even if it's not fully calibrated." The disruptor may not function correctly, came the android's response. We're out of options, Ilara shot back. Launch now or there won't be anyone left to save. As the Defiance executed another evasive maneuver, a massive tremor shook the surface of Earth. From the largest fissure in the planet's broken crust, the Harbinger emerged, a vessel that dwarfed even the Hegemony destroyers, its hull gleaming with an otherworldly luster. The Hegemony vessels immediately redirected their fire, recognizing the greater threat. But the Harbinger's shields absorbed the barrage without visible effect as it moved into position. All human vessels, fall back behind the Harbinger, came Yin's voice over the comm. Prepare for quantum disruption. Ilara ordered her ships to comply, the damaged vessels limping into the protective shadow of Earth's final weapon. The Hegemony destroyers pressed their attack, launching what appeared to be boarding craft toward the Harbinger. They're trying to capture the technology, Ilara realized. They recognize what it is. Let them come. Prometheus responded, now speaking through the Harbinger's communication systems. We want them close. As the Hegemony forces closed in, the massive energy projector on the Harbinger's bow began to glow with iridescent light. Energy cascaded along conduits that ran the length of the ship. Quantum disruption field at 80% capacity, Yin announced, targeting Hegemony command vessels. The lead destroyer suddenly broke off its approach, attempting to retreat. But it was too late. The Harbinger released a pulse of energy unlike anything Ilara had ever witnessed, not a destructive beam, but a wave that passed through all matter in its path, selectively targeting certain subatomic bonds. The effect on the Hegemony ships was immediate and dramatic. Their engines failed, weapon systems went dark, and artificial gravity collapsed. Through the viewports, Ilara could see creatures detaching from humanoid hosts aboard the destroyers, the Ascended, forced to relinquish control. It worked, Reza whispered in awe. The quantum disruptor actually worked. This is just the beginning, Prometheus's voice echoed through all communication channels. The disruption wave will propagate through the Hegemony's quantum communication network, reaching every vessel and installation connected to it. The Ascended will be exposed throughout the galaxy. Ilara watched as the disabled Hegemony vessels drifted, their freed crews visibly fighting against the parasitic creatures that had controlled them. Harbinger launched shuttles to assist, carrying android troops to secure the destroyers. The Ascended will attempt to regroup, Yin warned. This victory is significant, but they have contingencies. They've faced extinction before. But they've never faced humanity before, Ilara responded, a fierce smile spreading across her face. And now they never will again. In the days that followed, the quantum disruption wave spread through the Hegemony's networks as predicted. Throughout the galaxy, the Ascended were forced from their hosts, their carefully constructed power structure collapsing as enslaved species reclaimed their autonomy. The underground facility beneath Earth's surface became the center of a new coalition, not just of humans, but of all species liberated from Ascended control. The advanced technology preserved there for 3 millennia was shared freely, with the condition that never again would one species be allowed to dominate others. 1 month after the battle, Ilara stood once more on the observation platform, looking out over Earth's ruined surface. Terraforming equipment had already been deployed, the first steps in a centuries-long process to restore the planet to habitability. Do you think we'll live to see it green again? Reza asked, joining her at the viewport. Maybe not, Ilara admitted, but our descendants will. That's enough. Beyond Earth, the stars beckoned, not as places to hide, but as homes to reclaim and new worlds to discover. After 3,000 years of exile, humanity had returned to the galactic stage, not just as survivors, but as liberators. And the galaxy would never forget them again.